Good evening, brothers and sisters. Bow with me in a word of prayer. My Lord and my God, have me speak as I ought. Have me speak on what you want me to speak on. Have my thoughts be of no pleasure to myself, but to you. Have me do as you want me to do. Your servants of old had enough faith to speak as you gave them to speak. We don't have faith anymore, Lord. We don't step out and we don't do. We hide. And we hold apart from you all the things we want to keep. What's up, guys? Um, so, you ever do stuff that you know people don't like? You ever had to look somebody in the face and tell them they're wrong? Some people like that. I like doing the right thing. I don't like hurting people. I used to. I really used to. Um, but I don't like to do it anymore. Um, and uh, sometimes you have to. And that's something I've been learning more and more in my life is sometimes you have to say stuff that you know is going to hurt somebody because it's going to pull them off the path. I was told several times recently, you got to learn how to love people. And I think that is true. A lot of us do have to learn how to love people. Uh, but if we were more like children and said what we saw and asked questions about what we thought was wrong, we'd be a lot better off. Yet we don't do that because we've been taught etiquette, what it's called. We've been taught etiquette, and we've been taught to worry about how people feel, not necessarily whether they're right or wrong. And I promise, this is a Bible thought. We're told not to be judges in any way, shape, or form, but we're told to discern. And I've gone in on that. I'd like to give you a. I'd like to give you a. I've talked to two people on this wonderful platform. I've prayed to the Lord for a while that He would give me a ministry, and this is not the ministry I anticipated, but I've got to meet so many people already and talk to so many different people across different videos and things like that. And I'm thankful for those opportunities. And so many people are of different beliefs, different thought processes. And it's interesting. It's interesting having a conversation with somebody over a keyboard where you don't see the person, you don't know what their voice sounds like, you don't know the hurt behind their eyes, you don't know the weight behind their shoulders, you don't know the thoughts behind their head. You can't tell the inclination of their voice, whether they're breaking or yelling. You can't see any tears. Uh, but still, you must speak as you're supposed to speak. Paul tells church, I believe in Thessalonica, to pray for him that he should speak as he ought. I feel that one in my bones because I like to speak as I want. You know, it wasn't too long ago we talked about keyboard warriors. I don't know if people still do. I'm not really a social media person. Um, but uh, that's a lot of ranting. But it goes to the point I'm about to make. Sometimes you have to tell people they're wrong. And the reason you have to do this, it's not a hard concept to understand at all. I told one of my students they're making some really terrible choices in life. And I really hope they live a long and good life. But they're making some terrible choices. And I looked at them with nothing but love, a little bit of energy. And I told them, look, You can make whatever decision you want to make. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to make you. I'm not going to be angry with you. But you'll never be able to say that nobody told you. Uh, and hearing that you're making the wrong decisions and that you're young and you do not know the truth and you can't just depend on your feelings and your thoughts without experiences or counsel to make those decisions, um, that may hurt. But just like if you were blind and walking off a cliff and I pulled you by the hair to safety, that would hurt and be good for you. This interaction might hurt, but it's good for you. Um, so as much as it hurts, sometimes uh, it is for our benefit. I'm big into exercise, and sometimes, especially leg day, hurts. But it is good for you because if you don't have a strong base, you ain't got nothing. Fortunately, my base is Christ. I read this passage to my children tonight, and I wanted to make sure that they understood it because I think it's fundamental. And then there went great multitudes. This is Luke chapter 14, verse 25. And then there went great multitudes with him, and he turned and said unto them, If any man come to me, and hate not his father, and mother, and wife, and children, and brethren, and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. And whosoever doth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first, and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Lest haply he after he hath laid the foundation is not able to finish it all, that behold, it begin to mock him, saying, This man began to build and was not able to finish. What king going to make war against another king sitteth not down first, and consulteth whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000? Or else while the other is yet a great way off, he sendeth an ambassage, and desireth conditions of peace. So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he hath, he cannot be my disciple. Salt is good, but if the salt have lost its savour, wherewith shall it be seasoned? It is neither fit for land, nor yet for the dunghill, but men cast it out. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. Okay. Um, that's kind of easy to read and glance over and be like, he doesn't mean that. I believe with all of my heart that he believes and means every word because Jesus isn't a liar. Um, and it's not the hate that we think it's just a comparisonal hate. I love my parents, absolutely do. I love my wife. I love my children. I love my brothers and my sisters. They can be a little rough sometimes. Uh, but I want to make this incredibly clear. If we're not willing to tell them no for the sake of Christ, then we do not love Christ. It's that simple. We choose the love of ourselves over the love of Christ. Um, it, Christ uses that as an example, but he uses many other. You cannot serve both God and mammon. Talks about the love of money is the root of all evil. Um, I mentioned today I did a short and mentioned tithing, and we think a lot about tithing as money. How often do we think we can buy an okay with God because we've given 10% of our income? I really hope, actually, I don't care about what money you give to the Lord. He actually, I don't think, cares about it either. Um, You'd be much happier if you went out and spent 10% of your time doing ministry and 10% of your time taking care of the widows and the fatherless. Uh, we don't do that. We do tithe. Most people who attend church tithe. Maybe not most. Maybe I'm assuming. I hope I'm not. But we tithe because it's easy because we pay for food. We pay for everything. And we think that, just giving out some money does it. Christ is not after earthly possessions. because the earth is his and the fullness thereof. That ain't the point. He made the thing. The point is he's after your heart. Um, are you choosing to use your time in a way that is glorifying to the Lord? I touched on, you know, we're told to not be talebearers and busybodies. Have you guys watched the news? Like you realize when I was a kid, there was news at like 6, noon, and 6. There might have been a couple others in between, um, and probably a midnight news. I wasn't up for that. They got stations, like a lot of stations for the news, where they talk about the news all day, and not just the news, but they've got like sports news now. And I really don't care too much if I'm tickling something that you're interested in. That's kind of the point. Um, how much do we absorb this rather than absorbing rock the table? This. How much do we do that instead of like you realize you can put a sermon on, but that doesn't tickle the ears. Well, he tells us in Timothy, I think it is, that they'll seek after teachers that tickle the ears with fables. That's movies. Um, you realize how much of your life you're missing, how much of the life and growth you have with the Lord that you're missing. I was talking to a brother from church whom, oh my goodness, I have grown to love. He's been such a great friend. Um, and it just, nothing's the same. You grow to know this God because you're not filling yourself with false. I'll stop here in a second. I want to make this last point. I was watching this movie with my wife. It used to be one of our favorite movies to watch. It was How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I tell this story often because I think it's hilarious. We're watching this movie. We've seen it a bunch of times. Probably could quote the whole thing. That's an exaggeration. And there's a scene where Matthew McConaughey, he's the male lead. He has a towel over his shoulder, like I do when I cook. I like to cook. Um, and he's tasting things, and he's all over the table. I was like, what's he doing? I say it out loud to my wife. What an idiot. He didn't make any of that stuff. My wife looks at me with this flabbergasted look and goes, Frankie, none of it's real. I was like, yo, we're watching a lie. Like the whole thing we're soaking in is a lie. We're inundating ourselves with lies. Every TV show you watch, you can say it's a documentary all you want, sure, but they make documentaries. The vast majority, sitcoms, comedies, movies, dramas, romances, we're sucking in lies and we're telling ourselves it's a pastime. Yo, what is Satan called? The father of lies. I did a video a while back. It's called Sons of God or Sons of the Devil. Whose instruction are you listening to? Are you listening to the truth of the Lord or the truth of the father of the lies? That's can't even say that. The father of lies. Look, I'm not out here to say all of it's bad. There are things that are entertaining to watch, but there, y'all, am I the only one who feels this way? No, I know at least one other person feels the way I do, um, and I don't want anybody to think that this Christian life doesn't have fun. This servant of Christ life doesn't have fun because that's not the way it is at all. You ever experienced how much life you get when you turn off the TV, you turn off the video games, you turn off the social media, and you go do things? Me and my kids just played Jenga for like an hour outside. One of my best friends I've known since I was 6, and my wife. I'll tell you what, I feel a whole lot closer to them after doing that than watching a movie every time. Sit down and watch a movie, you don't get any closer to anybody. Nobody learns anything. Nobody laughs with anybody. They laugh at something. Grow with your family. Like your spiritual family, grow. Be. I could rant on this, but I do want to hear what y'all think. Um, this life is full of joy. Y'all think it's a coincidence that depression is on the rise? I'm gonna put that out there. I'm a mental health educator. You think it's a coincidence? Talk to some of these people who are going through these things. Ask them how often they're outside, they're with people, they're doing things, versus how often they're inside they're sitting, they're watching things. Lord, tell me when to shut up. I should shut up. Guys, I went on a rant and it sounds like a condemnation. It's more like an encouragement. Let's do things. Let's be lights. Can't be a light to the world inside of the house. When the TV light is the brightest in your house, you got a problem. Peace and love.